New restrictions every day across the world as each country fights its own battle against the coronavirus. In Australia, strict travel measures are being implemented. Anyone arriving from abroad must self-quarantine for 2 weeks. Cruise ships entering Australian waters will soon be banned from docking for 30 days. Prime Minister Scott Morrison says the restrictions are necessary and has called for an urgent meeting of the G20.
Prime Minister Modi is keen to organise a link-up between all the G20 leaders. I think that's a commendable initiative. Australia obviously supports that. An even more urgent meeting that would be needed would be a further meeting of the G20 finance ministers and central bank governors. This is a health crisis, but it has very serious economic impacts.
In New Zealand, the number of people infected has gone up after a person travelled from Australia despite having tested positive for coronavirus. A self-isolation period of 2 weeks for travellers entering New Zealand has come into force, but those coming from small South Pacific island countries with no reported cases are exempt.
We're going to step up that enforcement, things like spot checks to ensure people are self-isolating. And if you don't self-isolate, there are quarantine powers available to us.
And on New Zealand's east coast, passengers on a cruise ship docked in Akura town are not allowed to disembark. 3 people on board are quarantined, with 1 showing symptoms. Also in the Pacific region, the Philippine capital Manila has begun a month's lockdown. Thousands of police are sealing off the city by blocking major roads. The quarantine means domestic travel in and out of Manila is suspended with a few exemptions.
There's so much traffic, the containment measures are disruptive, but it's okay. It's for the good of our own health.
From Monday, Manila's 12 million residents will be under a nightly curfew and are encouraged to stay at home during the day. Schools are closed, most government jobs will be suspended, and large gatherings are to be banned. The Philippines has taken some of the toughest measures yet in the region, and while people's movement is being restricted, officials hope it will prevent a bigger spread of the virus. Sara, Khairat, Jazeera.